Nowadays, women beg for my attention, but my entire life, I've been friend zoned by women. Starting from elementary school. Elementary school, middle school, I was always friends with the guys who attracted the girls in school, right? They either played sports, they either had some sort of status, maybe their parents had money, they afforded to buy them the newer shoes, things that were cool back then, right? And the girls would like them. And I remember specifically in elementary school, the guys that I was hanging out with, they were already, sneaking out during classes, going to the staircase, kissing the girls. And I was always the one that just had to basically watch all of this happen, watch all my friends get played and get rejected my entire life. Now, growing up, I was very short. I'm still pretty short now. I'm 5'7.5", but in elementary school, I was damn near the line leader. If you guys know what that is, it's basically they would put you in size order, right? So the shortest guys would be in the front and the tallest would be in the back. And I wasn't the first one in line, but I was always like the second or third because I was always one of the shortest kids in class. And yet, all the girls were taller because they had these growth sprouts. And I just kept getting rejected, and it was brutal. And specifically in middle school, that's when I really started to build up the confidence to actually ask these girls out, right? And I remember these girls that I would have crushes on, they would literally look at me with disgust. Now, there was one specific situation that just made me feel like I was nothing, right? Made me feel worthless as a 13-year-old kid. And it was Valentine's Day, and I spoke about this in one of my other videos, but it was Valentine's Day, and what my school did for Valentine's Day is you can basically buy chocolates for somebody, and it would be a gesture, and you could be anonymous, or you could write down your name and let them know that you're the one sending the chocolates. Bro, I remember I took like $20, and $20 for a 13-year-old kid with no job and, not making no money. That was like my birthday money right there. That was a lot of money for me at the time. I remember taking like $20, and it would be like $5 per chocolate bar, right? And I bought like 5 of them. And I didn't do it anonymous. I wrote down my name, right? I told her, yo, this is from Max. And then I sent it to this girl that I had a crush on. Man, I remember a few periods later that same day on Valentine's Day, I see this one kid in school that I didn't like. And he was eating chocolate, and he was like, yo, bro, thanks for the chocolate. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, we all heard that you gave this girl the chocolates, and she just gave them all out. She gave out all the chocolates that I bought for her. And when I talked to her about it, she just looked at me with disgust, rejected me right on the spot, laughed at me. Her whole friend group was laughing at me. And, as a little kid, that shit hurt. That shit hurt. I remember coming home that day and just crying because time and time again, these girls in school would either friend zone me or do those brutal rejections. Nowadays, they always say what's the worst that can happen when you approach a girl? Well, I've seen quite literally the worst that can happen because it happened in middle school, that fucking embarrassment, her spreading the word around. Everyone knows I got rejected by this girl, right? And this happened with literally multiple girls in elementary and in middle school. So then high school came around, and I was so happy that I left these guys in the past, right? I left these girls in the past. I left these kids in the past. They weren't in high school with me. So it was kind of like a fresh start. But it really wasn't because I was still the same guy, right? And then in high school, I was an even smaller fish, right? In middle school, I hung out around the guys who had some status. In elementary as well. And it was smaller schools, so everybody kind of knew each other. But when I entered high school, man, I was in a school with quite a lot of kids. It was around, I don't know, maybe 5,000 kids for the entire school. And it was guys, girls from everywhere, right? All around the city. Like people I've never seen before. And it was just a different environment for me, to say the least. And a lot of these girls, man, even though we were like 14 years old, 13 years old, these girls were already grown up. Like they just looked like they already hit puberty, and I was damn near just started, right? So I get into high school. I'm a freshman. I'm this like nerdy looking guy. My book bag was big as hell. Like I was always slouched over with this big ass book bag, walking around school. And you know, I made my little friend group. But I remember one day specifically, right? One day that changed everything. It was the first 2 weeks of school, and in the first 2 weeks of school, they always have like these fire drills. So we're doing a fire drill outside, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically like they would pretend like it's a fire, right? And you would have to go outside, you know, get in order, right? And basically you can see all the kids from the different classes. So I would go outside with my class, and I remember seeing this one girl when I was coming back into school from the fire drill. Man, this girl, she looked like a grown woman, like long hair, ass fat, you feel me? Like she was grown up. And I remember looking over at my boy, and I was like, I just gave him this look like, and he already knew. He already knew what was up. And he knew her, right? Everybody, turns out, all the guys in school already knew her, right? Because she was one of the baddest girls in school, right? She looked like she was damn near 18, 19, 20 years old when we were only 14. And I've never seen a girl like that, quite frankly, in my life. Maybe just like in movies and TV shows, but not in school. Definitely not in school, right? The girls in my middle school were not like that, right? And so a couple days go by, and I'm still thinking about this girl. And then I notice this girl is in my lunchroom, right? We have the same lunch period. And so every day when I would have lunch, I would sit from the table across from her, and I would be with my boys. She would be with like her friends. And I just remember forcing eye contact. Like I would literally stare at this girl, waiting for her to make eye contact with me. And then she did a few times. We had a few staring contests, right? But I would never come up to her. I would just keep looking at her. I would like talk to my boy, but really be looking at her. And, you know, she knew that I liked her, obviously, because I was giving her sides. But I never made the approach. Now, fast forward, one day I remember I was getting ready to shower, and I pulled up my phone, and I went on Instagram before I got in the shower, and somehow like her Instagram popped up on my feed. And I was like, no way, this is the girl from the lunchroom. Maybe I even went out looking for her because I knew what her name was. So I think I found her Instagram, and what I did was I followed her, and I sent her a DM, and I still remember the fucking DM I sent her. I said, hey, gorgeous, or I said, you're so gorgeous, and then I put like 3 heart eye emojis. I think I put like a heart eye emoji, and then the sick emoji, you feel me? Like the one with the fever. Like, and then I just went in the shower, did my thing, right? And I remember she got back to me, and she was like, oh, thank you, with like a bunch of hearts. And after that, man, I thought I was in it. I was like, yo, this girl responded to me? No way. And she used some emojis. Yo, I'm lit. And so a couple of weeks went by, and I texted her a little bit back and forth, and then she was like, oh, why don't you ever talk to me during lunchtime? You just stare at me. And I was like, yo, you're right. Next time, I'm going to say something. So I go up to her one day. I have the balls to go up to her. Just make that small talk. We get to talking, and then basically me and this girl ended up being very close, right? Now, she knew I liked her. I made it very clear from the start. And I thought that she liked me because she kept entertaining everything that I was doing, right? Like, my entire life, I've seen that, yo, when I show a girl that I like her, she usually just says, no, I'm not interested. Like, she lets me know right off the bat. I never really had a girl that, like, used me for attention or pretended that she liked me. Nothing like that. But this time was different, right? This was my first time really encountering something like that. So I thought this girl liked me back because she kept responding to me. She would text me all day. I would stay up all night, lose sleep, and text her. And then one day, I remember this girl had a boyfriend. I found out that she has a boyfriend. This guy was on the basketball team, right? Looked nothing like me, and I was like, fuck. I thought she liked me this entire time. But not only does she have a boyfriend, but I'm probably not even her type. You feel me? And that shit hurt. But I thought that, yo, maybe I still have a chance. Like, she's still texting me. Maybe I could be like that side guy that as soon as something goes wrong with her and her mans, I could get in there, right? That was my mentality. And so I played that game. And every time she would get in an argument with her mans, she would talk to me about it. And I would try to convince her, like, yo, you should break up with him. I would literally tell her, like, yo, I would never treat you like that. You know, I was 14 years old. I knew no better. But I was like, damn, I would never treat you like that. You're too beautiful to be done dirty and this like that. And then I remember one day, like, I was like, yo, she just keeps talking to me about her boyfriend, and this isn't going anywhere. Like, it was just eating away at my soul. And it got me tight, quite frankly. And you know what? I told her, like, yo, are you gonna keep wasting my time? And then that's when she, like, really let me down. She was like, I'm not interested. Like, I like my boyfriend, this and that. I just want to be friends. And, you know, thank God that day I decided to grab my two nuts and say no. I refuse to be the guy in the friend zone, right? I refuse to be that guy that just was around every time she had a problem with her mans. You feel me? That was around every time she needed just an emotional tampon, for lack of better words. You feel me? And I said no. I'm not down to, like, I clearly, you know, I like you. I'm not down to just be your friend. And so I cut her off, right? I cut her off, and I remember time went by. I got this girlfriend from another school. That boosted my confidence. And then I really started to take care of my looks for the first time in life, right? I had this conversation with one of the guys on the basketball team, and we were talking about that same girl who friend-zoned me. And this girl, she was a big part of my entire self-improvement process. So I'm gonna be talking about that situation in future videos. But he told me, like, yo, you have a lot of potential, but you need to take more care of your looks and your presentation. Because remember, I was 120 pounds at the time, skinny guy, right? My hair was super short, right? I didn't have no like clean fade, nothing. Like, I just had like this regular haircut. I'm gonna put a picture of what I used to look like. I had this big ass book bag. You know, I just wore like clothes that my parents bought me. And, you know, I was just like this normal 14-year-old kid. But it was time that I had to start growing up. And so I grew my hair out. That was one of the first things I did. Now, I have curly hair, if you guys can't tell. So I grew it out, and it started to look nice. I started to get fades and tape-ups, and all of a sudden, I was looking a little more clean. I started growing out my beard. I remember I had like a chin strap, and all of a sudden, I was looking a little older. Now, mind you, this girl was 1 year older than me. So when I was 14, she was like 15, and she was used to dating guys who were even older than her, right? She was one of those. And so I knew I had to start looking older, right? I knew that, like, I started to realize, like, all these guys, that these girls that I've liked throughout my life, all the guys that they like, they all take care of their looks. They all have some sort of fashion, some sort of style to them, and they have some sort of edge, right? So I was like, how do I get that edge? Well, I started taking care of my looks, and then I started getting in the gym a little bit, right? I remember putting on some muscle mass. I went from 120 to around 135, right? Put on about 15 pounds, right? So I was no longer too skinny. I was still pretty skinny, but not that much. And that's when I got a job too, like my first real job with paychecks. And I remember spending all of my money. Every single week, I would get the flyest clothes. I spent like over 2K on book bags, on like MCM book bags, designer. I would get the designer belts, right? The designer shirts. Like me and my friend group started to be known for that. And then all of a sudden, I had a friend group that was known as like the fly guys in school. I started being known as that guy who was like a playboy, right? Because everyone in my school see me get that first girl, right? My first girlfriend. And I started to be known as like that playboy fly guy, right? I started to get the newest shoes every single time they would drop, right? Now the kids I was in school with, a lot of them were fit. They had that over me, but a lot of them didn't really have money like that, right? For kids, like for teenagers, they didn't really have money like that. At least they didn't spend it on their clothing, on their appearance. So I wasn't playing sports, right? I wasn't on the football team. I wasn't on the basketball team. So I couldn't use that to my advantage. So I had to use the clothing, the appearance, the style to my advantage. And that's what I did. And I remember this one day, junior year, it might have been like the end of sophomore or beginning of junior year. I'm coming out of school, and there was this deli that everybody would like hang out after school. And I just seen her while I was walking to the deli, and she was walking with like this guy that I knew, like one of my boys. And I was just like, I released all outcome. Like at that point, I've already talked to multiple girls. I've already, hooked up with multiple girls. I've already lost my virginity by that time, right? Because I lost it when I was 15. And so I already had that confidence on the back end, but I just never she was kind of like that trophy that I didn't unlock yet. She was like that badge that I didn't get yet. You feel me? And at that point, I was just trying to stack badges. I was like, okay, Max, you got all these girls, you got a girlfriend, you lost your virginity, girls in school know you, girls in school like you, right? You're known as this fly guy. But what are you really made of? Can you get this one girl that you've wanted since the beginning of high school, right? That you've been attracted to? Because she was my type. She was my type. She was probably my imprint too. And I remember I just said something spontaneous to her. I don't remember what I said exactly, but I just spontaneously said something to them. And she was very receptive. And she was shocked. She was shocked that I even said anything to her. And I remember she was like, I've been waiting for you to talk to me for 2 years. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, damn. And since that day, that same day, we ended up walking home together. And, we hooked up, right? We made out. And I remember coming home that day after making out with this girl. And I was floating on air. That was a natural high for me. Because I was like, yeah, I got girls, but now this one girl who friend-zoned me, who broke my heart, who I literally cried over. I literally cried over this girl, guys, when she friend-zoned me, when I realized that I probably have no chance of getting her. I was like, yo, fuck you. You feel me? I was like, yo, fuck this. I'm that guy, right? I'm that guy. You feel me? I finally did what I said I'm going to do. Right? I did the self-improvement, and now look at her. She's coming back. That was one of the first instances that I saw oh, now girls are coming back. Girls that rejected me in the past. That was a big pivotal moment in my life. And long story short, I ended up making this girl my girlfriend, but I was red pill aware at the time. So I knew that, yo, I'm attracted to this girl, I like this girl, but I will never let her break my heart. For the simple fact that I know that she friend-zoned me, and I know that she came back when she saw me doing better, right? And so I went through the entire relationship. I really liked the girl, right? We had a great relationship, but I always kept her one arm away, because I always knew in the back of my head, female nature, right? I was already female nature aware, and you know what they say, once you take that red pill, there's no going back, right? So there was no going back. I was not about to let myself get heartbroken by this girl twice. You feel me? So the entire relationship, She was like chasing me, begging for my validation, begging for my attention, right? And I was just enjoying every single second of it, guys. Like, every single second. Like, you know what they always say, success is the best revenge, or that you shouldn't be a revengeful person. But even though I liked her, I wanted that revenge. I wanted her to feel, and it was almost like me getting back at every single girl that rejected me. I wanted them to feel like, yeah, you didn't like me when I was down, when I didn't have no clothes, when I had a shitty haircut, when I had pimples all over my face, when I didn't look good, when I had no muscle mass, I was a skinny, scrawny kid, and now you like me. It's like that song, right? Back then they ain't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me. That was my life, guys. And, long story short, whatever. Went through that relationship, all good. But ever since then, that moment really taught me that, with self-improvement, there is no friend zone. Because ever since then, I've never got friend zoned by a woman in my life because my standards changed, right? If you allow yourself to get friend zoned by a woman, that means you have low standards. That means you're still putting the woman as above you, right? That means you lack self-respect. There's inadequacies about yourself that you feel are missing. You feel me? And so you need to figure out what they are. Is it that you need to get in better shape? Is it that you need to start dressing better? Is it that you need to start grooming better? Maybe try a different hairstyle. Maybe change around the people that you're hanging out with. Maybe change your hobbies. Maybe stop fapping. Maybe stop watching porn. Maybe start actually going out and being social, being charismatic. These are all things that I had to start doing. All right? And the reason why I said women beg me for my attention now is because now, if a girl doesn't like me, she can hit the highway, right? She can kick rocks. I only mess with women that give me high interest, right? I basically flipped the tables on them, right? I flipped the script. Back then, I was always the one chasing, and it never led me anywhere, right? It never landed me the girl. All it landed me was being a man and crying over a girl. So I was literally just a little boy. And I was like, never again. So if you see yourself constantly getting friend zoned by a woman, it's because you allowed it to happen. Somewhere in that interaction with the woman, as soon as you displayed your signs of interest, and guys, let's be real here. Women know what your intentions are. Don't act like don't act like, oh, she thought that we were just gonna be friends. Oh, we had a nice friendship. No. There is no such thing as friendship, right? There is no such thing as platonic friendships. One person always ends up catching feelings. And you don't want to be that person that catches the feelings, right? You don't want to be that person. You always want to have her catch the feelings first. You always want to keep her at arm's bay. Once you start keeping them at arm's bay, they come chasing your validation. And at that time, the cards are in your hands. You get to make the moves, right? You're no longer following her game, her script, right? You're no longer being her puppet. And so they know what you're trying to do. If you're talking to a girl, you compliment her once, how many compliments do you have to give her for her to get the hint? She knows. She knows what you're trying to do, bro. She knows that you're trying to hit that. You feel me? She knows. And so, if after the first time you displayed some sort of interest in her or you approached her, like if this is a random girl and you approach her, obviously she knows that you want to get with her. You're not going to approach a stranger to be friends. Like, we don't do that. I don't do that. You feel me? And so, if you're approaching a girl, she doesn't match your energy, you must be willing to walk away. Because as soon as they see that you're not willing to walk away, they think that you're needy, you're desperate, and you get no women. You have no options. Because the reason why that girl who friend zoned me at first and then became my girlfriend, The reason why she changed her attitude towards me when I approached her that second time, right, is because when I interacted with her, I was moving out of a state of abundance. I already had multiple girls I was talking to, right? I already lost my virginity. I already had like that confidence in the back of my mind, knowing that, hey, if anything goes wrong with this girl, I literally have 3 other girls I'm talking to. I have a girl that I can see tomorrow. You feel me? And that's why I was able to do what I did, right? That's why she showed that attraction towards me. And she was watching me for like those past 2 years that we didn't talk. She was watching my moves. She knew that I had a girlfriend. She saw all these girls in school like talking about me, chasing me. She seen that shit. Feel me? I don't know what the fuck they talking about, man. But she seen it. And so you need to understand that as a man, you need to have a backbone, right? If you want to stop being friend zoned, number one is have a backbone. Never be willing to accept being a girl's friend, being a girl's emotional tampon. That will never get you anywhere, right? Don't be that guy who sits around and prays that you can get some crumbs. Do you like, even if you could get some crumbs, bro, do you want to be that guy that gets seconds? That, oh, she just broke up with her boyfriend and that's the only reason why, like she just happened to be drunk or high and that's the only reason why she hooked up with you and then after that she regretted it? Is that what you want? I don't think you want that, bro. I don't think you want to be another man's seconds. I think you want to be the type of man that women gravitate towards naturally because he's done the self-improvement. And that's the main concept. If I would have never done the self-improvement, none of that would have happened. I would have never lost my virginity. I would have stayed an incel, probably until college, right? Probably until college. I would have never got those girls to come back, right? And I don't want you to hear this and think that, yo, I need to start self-improvement for women. I need to start self-improvement to get out the friend zone. No, you need to self-improve in order to have a backbone. Because once you self-improve, once you get into the best shape of your life, once you present yourself like the man you're supposed to be, once you actually start carrying yourself with that type of confidence, that's when you actually have a backbone and you have self-respect for yourself. You know the work that it took for you to get there. When I approached her freshman year of high school, when I approached all those girls in middle school and elementary, I did no self-improvement. I was this like chubby and that super skinny kid. I put in no work. I had no real results, no proof to be confident, to have a backbone. And so I took all their shit, all the shit that they gave me, all those nasty looks, you feel me? Them talking shit about me to their friends, running rumors around about me to the school. I took it all. You feel me? I had no self-respect. I was a complete simp nice guy, right? Because I thought that's what you needed to be. I thought you needed to be the nice guy, like the Disney movies. Guys, I grew up watching Disney movies my entire childhood. That's what I did. And so that's what I thought. That's what I thought they liked. Yo, buy her some chocolates. She's gonna appreciate that, and then happily ever after, right? But I was wrong. You feel me? And the best investment that you can do into your own life, into your own personal development, as a man, with everything in life, is always to self-improve, always to put yourself first. Do it for the betterment of you and the woman, the opportunities, the status, anything that you want in this life always comes on the back end, right? People respect you more when you're in shape. People stop clowning you, right? Girls think twice before saying some crazy shit to you. Guys, girls don't say anything crazy to me. Even if I still get rejected, don't get me wrong. I still get rejected, right? I'm not saying that I don't. But I never get those same rejections that I used to, right? It's never like them saying something crazy to me. They always show respect. And the amount of girls that don't reject me, that actually show me way more interest than I show them, because they see that I'm not needy. They see that I'm in abundance. They see that I'm a man that looks like he has options. That's what matters. right? That's what matters. So if you're not in the best shape of your life, if you're not dressing like the man you're supposed to be, if you're not presenting yourself well on social media and like showing these, you got to show these girls like a little snippet, right? Because if you're in school, if you're at work, if you're in the real world, right, which I'm sure most of you guys are, I hope you're not in school watching this. All these girls, like you, whether you approach a girl on the street, she's seen you once. When is she gonna see you again? You ask her out, but she doesn't really know much about you. She doesn't know like where your status is at. Yeah, she saw your first impression, and even that wasn't that good. She needs to see something. She needs to see some snippets on social media. She needs to see that you have social proof. She needs to see that you have a life outside of her, right? She needs to see that you have a life that you can invite her in, that you have nice pictures, that you have good looks, that you hit the gym, that you're disciplined, right? And all of this, you can use your social media to leverage it, right? And that's exactly what I help my clients with. Is we work on their physique first, because physique always comes first. The fitness, making sure you're in shape comes first, because you could wear the best clothes in the world, you could wear the flyest fit. If you're not in shape, that shit won't fit you well, right? You're not gonna walk with that same confidence, and it won't matter. A fat guy in a suit is just a fat guy in a suit, but a fit guy in a suit, oh, all of a sudden he's a businessman, he's an entrepreneur, he's a successful guy. But a fat guy in a suit is just a fat guy in a suit, or a skinny dweeb in a suit. It's just a skinny dweeb in a suit, which is what I used to be. So we always work on physique first, work on the mindset, help them overcome those limiting beliefs. And once that's locked in, we help them with the presentation. So we help them develop a style that matches their personality, that women find attractive too, that every time they dress like that, they walk with their head a little higher, their shoulders a little more rolled back, their chest a little more up. They walk with more confidence, right? And then we help them display this transformation that they made for themselves in a highlight on social media. So I help them take the photos. I help them connect to a photographer. I just coach them through the entire photo shoot, what type of photo to shoot, right? What type of angles to hit, what type of settings to go to, how to lay it all out on your page, how to tease girls with the story posts on your stories. Man, if you guys know about the stories, the story methods, you know. But we do a full transformation with these guys so they can have the dating life they want, so they can get that respect that they want, and so they can finally, most importantly, start living like the man that they were always destined to be. Because if you would have told that skinny 13-year-old guy that got friend zoned, which was me, that was 120 pounds, if you would have told him he would be coaching guys on this now, he would have looked at you like crazy, right? But we all have that potential within us. You just need to decide that that's for you. You just need to decide that you have the potential, right? And you can figure it out on your own, or you could get someone to help you, right? If you want me to help you, walk you through this entire personal development journey, step by step, hold your hand through it, give you the systems, right? And just walk you through the entire process of getting in the best shape of your life, presenting yourself well, highlighting yourself on dating apps, highlighting yourself on Instagram so you could get more dates, get more respect, and be the man that you were always destined to be. Then hit that link in the description. You could book a call with me, see if you're a good fit. I'm gonna ask you a little bit about your life, your story, where you are right now and where you're trying to go to. And we'll figure out if you're a good fit for my one-on-one coaching. Or you can check out my Instagram. The link is also gonna be in the description. You can see my entire story there, right? My entire lifestyle. And you can shoot me a DM there and we'll talk about it. But never let yourself be the guy that gets stuck in the friend zone, all because you refuse to do the self-improvement. Now, see you boys in the next one. Stay dangerous.